So I really just wanted to come on here and show you, as I was exploring the interwebs of fashion, what some of my favorite pieces were that I thought, wow, like if someone were to wear that coat this season, like they would stand out and they would be really cool and different. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kari and I'm a creative director and a graphic designer. I lived in LA and now I'm in Nashville currently, and I love everything art, fashion, creativity, travel, jewelry, beauty, whatever it is creative. I'm probably going to talk about it here on my channel. Basically, whatever makes your vibe, that's what I'm vibing with, and I would love to have you guys here as subscribers. So if you're not, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, be part of my little family here on the internet. I would really appreciate it. And if you're coming back and you're already subscribed, so happy that you're back. Thank you so much for being a loyal subscriber and coming back and watching my crazy shenanigans time after time. So today, what I wanted to talk about, because it is kind of in that middle point between fall and winter, I know a lot of people are really interested in buying their winter coats this season or investing in winter pieces now. I'm personally traveling back to London in January, and so I've been on this path to find a cool puffer coat. So what I wanted to do today was do a list of unique winter coats that not everyone will have. And some of these are practical, some of them aren't. Some of them I just thought were so weirdly different and cool that I just wanted to let the internet know about them if you haven't seen them or know of these brands. Most of them are a little expensive because this is a luxury channel, but I also tried to find some more affordable pieces that are more in the $100 range versus like the $700 to like $7,000 range. I want this channel to be a place where a lot of different people can come for inspiration. I know when I was younger, it was nice to just see what other people in the luxury space were really vibing on or what the high-end designers were coming out with. And even if I couldn't buy that exact coat, it gave me inspiration of like when I was shopping around, could I find that for a deal? Was there another retailer that kind of did the same vibe but in a more affordable price point? So I really just wanted to come on here and show you, as I was exploring the interwebs of fashion, what some of my favorite pieces were that I thought, wow, like if someone were to wear that coat this season, like they would stand out and they would be really cool and different. My favorite fashion, personally, when it comes to my style, is I like obnoxious things that I wear neutrally. If you can't tell, like leopard coats, sequin bags. I love that weirdness coming together but working for some reason. And again, with fashion and style, it should be things that you are drawn to and that you really love and that like spark something in you. And I guarantee that if you have the option between like 5 colors and one's like black, brown, and one's like a pop color, but you love that pop color, go for the pop color. It'll work. You will find a way in the attitude in which you wear it to make that color work. If you just wear it enough and you wear it with a certain attitude and you just put it on with everything you own, people are going to look at you like, wow, like that actually works, because it's in the energy that you have when you wear it, if that makes sense. I have quite a few on here on my phone. They make PayPal credit and pay in for a reason. So the first coat on the list is by Norma Kamali. She's a designer known for the sleeping bag coat. She used to take like silk parachutes and repurpose them. I think her designs were really big in the 80s. So I was on the hunt for like something cool and something unique and different. And she does such a cool range of patterns and prints and silhouettes that I don't think you can go wrong. I really love is called the Oversized Boyfriend Sleeping Bag. And I also love her classic sleeping bag coat. But she does a really great boyfriend sleeping bag coat. It's in this python color way. It's browns, golds. I think it's such a interesting neutral, and the fact that it's out of puffer material I think makes it so interesting. I love that it has like this pop collar kind of situation that just makes it like really expensive and cool. And I think that the pattern is just super unique. It's doing it in a way that like not a lot of people will do, or they're probably too scared to do, honestly. I feel like in the fashion industry, unless you're like looking more into like New York and London style, people are very, especially with outerwear, because it's an investment piece, right? They're very much like, I'm going to get this plain neutral wool. It's going to go with everything. It's an investment, blah, 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 blah. And I get that. But for like the edgier girls out there or guys, or if you just want something weird and different, but you still want that neutral, but this adds so much to it, because most of us truly have neutral pieces in our clothing items, right? We have basic sweaters, basic bodysuits, t-shirts, things like that. Denim, we usually go pretty straight lace when it comes to denim. Maybe you dabble in washes, but in terms of pattern and interest and texture, a lot of those things come through with our accessories, right? So this coat is just really, really cool. She's also paired it with like leather gloves, which I'm loving. I really want to invest in some Dries Von Noten leopard print full-length gloves. And just the way that this brand, like this designer, has styled her coats are so cool. And if you want more of a more structured silhouette that's not so oversized, she does do the classic sleeping bag coat, which is definitely more belted, cinched, has the good lapel. All of her coats have really great lapels and collars. So highly recommend. There's houndstooth. There's this really great kind of like cool tone gray. There's this iridescent kind of reflective material silver. And I just feel like this is such a cool alternative to a puffer coat that not a lot of people have. And it comes in different crops. So if you want something more cropped, kind of above the bum, you can get that. But in terms of like looking for a full length puffer, this is such a cool vibe. The next coat on my list, and I'm biased because I'm wearing it right now, is the Simon Miller Cheetah Scramble coat. I did a unboxing whenever this coat first came in, and it's the warmest coat I've ever worn. So if you're looking for something very warm and very fuzzy, and like, I'm also very particular about what rosettes look like with leopard prints, cheetah prints, whatever. This is more of a jaguar, I would say, rosette than like your typical cheetah or leopard. It's a very large rosette, and I think that that truly defines what makes a leopard coat look expensive. There's obviously the materials, like what does the fur feel like? This is faux fur. But I think the rosette and the coloring is what really makes a leopard coat look expensive, no matter what price point you've bought it at. So this coat is by Simon Miller, and I did a unboxing of it, and I love this coat. I've been wearing it for weeks now, and it's called the Cheetah Scramble, which is interesting. It's a lush faux fur coat, notched lapels, side seam pockets, double-breasted front closure. And the cool thing about this coat, and I don't know if you can see it, we'll stand up. Do you see the buttons? The buttons are like this tortoise kind of marbling, so they blend in with the rosette really well. It's not like a really bright button or like a white button or a pure black. Like the detail to this coat to make it feel and look expensive, really, I think that they went that extra mile. And this retails for $795. So if you're looking for like one of those like Kari Sex in the City floor length fur coats, but you don't like real fur, and I know leopard print is such an obsession right now, but again, it's like the python, and animal print will never go out of style. It's such an interesting neutral to have, and it adds so much. You know, I'm gonna insert a picture here. I wore it yesterday with camo pants, a bright red bodysuit, and my amethyst Louis Vuitton bag, and studded Alaya sunglasses, and it was so loud that it worked. I can't explain it. So the Simon Miller Cheetah Scramble floor length coat, it comes in multiple sizes, small to extra large. If you want a bit of an oversized look, they do run true to size, so get the extra large if you want it just like dripping off of you like rich rapper vibes, you know. But I think that the rosettes on this coat, the way that they've styled it, and it's pretty affordable. You know, it's under the $1,000 range if you're looking for a more like luxurious, higher end coat. But that would be my second recommendation, is the Simon Miller Cheetah Scramble. So they call it the Cheetah Jets coat in cheetah print. And then they also call it the Cheetah Scramble. So both on his website. And right now it's on sale. So it was $7.95 and it's on sale for $7.15 right now on his website. They also sell it at Nordstrom. They sell it on Revolve. So if you're looking for a good leopard coat, floor length, highly recommend the Simon Miller cheetah print. Cheetah Jets coat or cheetah scramble coat is what they're calling it. So that's what I have on right now in honor of this video. This next coat is from Dollz Kill, which I've never ordered anything from Dollz Kill, but I have heard people like it. And I have a hard time with like lower price point coats because I'm kind of in that era of my life where if I can afford to buy higher quality garments that aren't fast fashion, I try to do that. But again, it's like you can't afford to drop $1,000 every time you want to buy something. It's insane. So I thought that this coat was like really, really rad. It's another alternative to a puffer. I think that the quilting on this coat gives it this like really cool like gradient effect, similar to that python coat we looked at from Norma. And it's $159, but it's on sale now for $143 with a code. And it comes XXS all the way to XXL, and it's the Fader, hold on, the Fader Puffet jacket and scarf. So it's this like really cool, also like corseted looking silhouette, which I find very interesting. I think that it would look cool unzipped, but it's also really cool zipped up. It's almost like its own statement piece in general, and it gives this illusion of like a vintage fur coat, which I find really, really cool. It comes with this little like scarf doodad that you kind of see with brands like Rick Owens and stuff, where there's that piece that kind of goes around the neck area while you also have a lapel. I think that's really trending right now. I love the color. I love that it goes from like this light gold to kind of this like dark black in the creases, and it's out of this reflective material. So if you're a little bit of an edgier gal and you don't mind kind of making that statement, it looks really sick with, I think, like Doc Martens, I think would look cool with this outfit. It's got a silver zipper, not only on the up, but it's got a silver zipper kind of on this neckline piece, and then it also buttons. And I just think it's such a cool alternative to your typical puffer. I think the illusion of it being a fur coat silhouette is what makes this really edgy and fun, and I would love to see somebody like rocking this coat sometime this winter because it's a fucking cool coat. Okay, this next coat, it's more of a jacket, but I think that this is going to be really cool for winter, and it's the Perforated Leather Bomber by COS for men's. Some people say COS, some people say COS, but it's the COS brand. I was recently looking at the latest Harper's Bazaar issue that featured Kendrick Lamar, and he had the sickest Prada bomber on. It was oversized, it was weird, it was like a little bit like scuffed up, which is kind of, I think, the leather's vibe, that Miu Miu kind of like worn leather trend that's going on. But there's something so cool and kind of like Bottega-esque about the perforation of this bomber. And because it's a men's bomber, it should kind of be oversized if you buy it as a woman. I would recommend buying it in the extra large, and it's low in stock right now. So if you could get your hands on this, it's just such a cool alternative to like your typical bomber. And the perforation just adds such a cool texture that I actually really want to buy this for myself. I think that it's so well constructed. It looks expensive. Even the what would typically be like that sweatshirt material around like the waist and the armbands, that's normally like that, you know, it pills when you have like an aviator jacket on. It's actually made out of leather as well. So there's something like very, very cool about this bomber. It retails for maybe $750. So we're still kind of in that $700, $800 price range right now, but it is made out of complete leather, which I think, you know, for $700 for that kind of a bomber, like you would be paying like thousands if this was made by Bottega, if it was made by Prada. And I really love the quality and the construction of COS. I just think it adds such a cool aesthetic. And what's also very cool about this perforation is that it kind of separates a little bit as you wear it. So whatever color shirt you wear underneath this bomber or whatever, it pops through the perforation. So if you had like a tight almost like mock neck leopard bodysuit on, or like right now I have this red orange on, or white, or anything, and it just kind of peeks through, which I find so interesting about this jacket. I love like the little zigzag stitching on kind of the inner part of the leather that when you zip it up kind of rests against the skin, so when it's unzipped you have this extra interest to it. And I just think that the way that it falls, the draping of it, the hardware, and I honestly think that that detail of the elastic part of a normal bomber being this like kind of like pleated leather is just such an expensive detail. It's very like Jean-Paul Gaultier for the Fifth Element, if you remember kind of like that costume design. It was like that tight pleating, like very like moto style, which I think is very, very cool. So that's also on my list. I think it's like a very cool like winter jacket if you're not looking for a massive coat that's super warm. If you live in like Los Angeles, I just think this is a great leather piece that I think you need to get before it sells out. The next coat that I'm going to talk about is by the Frankie shop, and it is this kind of like coated double-breasted faux leather coat. So if you're the type of person that doesn't necessarily want to wear real leather, I totally understand. I have a lot of faux leather pieces from the Frankie shop, and they're very, very soft. So as far as like faux leathers go, I feel like this one you have the best chance from the Frankie shop to have like some longevity before it starts cracking and peeling and things like that. I love a good coated leather. I love that it feels a little more edgy, and they can read dominatrix, especially in a trench coat, pretty quickly. But with a good like turtleneck and a good boot and like a good skirt or denim or whatever, I just feel like this does coated faux leather, but in an edgy way, but like also a classy way. There's like this juxtaposition of like, oh, she's chic, but she's not matronly. She's kind of edgy. And I think anytime you do like a patent leather or a coated leather, it gives that aesthetic. And I feel like Gucci in the past couple of seasons has really laid that foundation for that coated burgundy to kind of be aspirational right now. But I just feel like a lot of people aren't going to have this coat. I think that the construction of it's really beautiful. It's the Tina double-breasted high shine faux leather coat. It retails for $810, so we're still in that like $800, $700 range. You can get it on the Frankie shop, you can get it on Selfridges, and the texture of the leather is actually quite beautiful. It's almost like, have you ever seen like beat metal jewelry? It kind of reminds me of that, where there's almost like divots in the leather, and I think that texture also makes it feel more expensive than just like your typical flat kind of patent shiny where it almost reads latexy. Just the general stitching that you'll see like around the lapel, I think is super well done and super expensive, and the cut of the coat is really great. So if you're looking for a high, like a shinier black kind of edgier version of a trench coat, I think that this is such a cool way to do it. The length of it, it's not super long, so I think it's going to be really flattering on a lot of different body types. There's a really strong shoulder. The drape of the sleeve is really nice. It's just overall like a beautiful coat. And even when you take the belt off, there are these seams, like almost like you took a couple of panels of leather and sewed them together. And I think that reads really expensive. It reads like very like 90s like Spice Girls music video to me for some reason. It's like something you would see like Victoria Beckham wearing on like the Two Become One video. I love that even when the belt's not there, there is some sort of like detail where it's not just this like massive panel of leather. It like breaks it up and it adds a little bit of a textural interest. It's like cool girl chic. So I think that Frankie shop double-breasted kind of coated faux leather coat is really, really cool. On Selfridges, it's $810. So that's another option for like my edgier girls, guys, whatever, who want the structure and the chic factor of a trench coat, but want it maybe in a material that like isn't wool, isn't kind of like your typical vintage leather, isn't something that everyone will have. It's like, I also take risks and I'm fine being a little different, and I think that's what this coat gives. Getting through. Look at my hair right now. We're getting through these coats. Okay, next up, my girl. I'm like sitting in a Westwood chair. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a chrome and black chair, but like you want to like slide back into it. I mean, we could just fuck around and do it like this. You want to do the rest of the video like just like friendship style? Because we're just friends here in my apartment, just like mad chilling, you know? Let's do this. Let's see. Is this fun? We're testing things out on this YouTube channel. I kind of feel like Sharon Stone from, what's that one movie, Basic Instinct? Okay, so next up on my list is my girl, Vivienne Westwood. I love Vivienne Westwood. I love that she's like this punk rock princess, R.I.P. She kind of broke down boundaries. I feel like just in general, if you resonate with Vivienne Westwood, you're kind of already that person that does things in like a unique, different way. Like her style and her silhouettes definitely are not mainstream, so you can't go wrong. And when I was in Selfridges last month, there were so many good Vivienne Westwood pieces. Great scarves. Right now she's got this really great beret. I love Vivienne Westwood, and right now tartan is such a big deal. I think you've seen it with like Alexander McQueen. I love what Alexander McQueen is kind of doing, and there is this tartan dress that I really love by that new creative director in his new line, and I think that resurgence, you see it with like, also you're seeing it with Chloe, which is interesting, right? Like Chloe is one of the the final few houses that actually has a female creative director. And I think Chloe did a beautiful job at these amazing plaid coats. So tartan, I think, is still strong for winter. And I think tartan is one of those things where you either love it or you don't, but it always comes back around. I don't think it's one of those things that's so overtly trendy that like if you were to buy a good plaid wool peacoat or jacket or coat that you couldn't wear it every year. But there will be times when it's definitely more trending than others. And I love this Vivienne Westwood coat. It's the S coat. Her site right now is in euros, so it's 1,605 euros. So whatever that is in American, USD, or pounds, or whatever currency you're in, do the math. But I love the colors of this. The Vivienne Westwood plaids can get very like pinks, aquas, yellows, but this one is more of like that orangey red, which I obviously really love. I love that there's like grays and neutrals in there. I love the white, the pop of the white, and I love this kind of like charcoal, like a cool charcoal tone. So I love the juxtaposition of the cool and the warm tones of this tartan material specifically. And then the chocolate lining, I love that it's like chocolate silk. So if it's just kind of flapping in the wind as you're walking down the street or whatever and you have it open, I think that the color combo here is so interesting. Even the lining color in contrast to the plaid tartan material and the textures and the color there, it's just a beautiful color combination. It's rich. And the interest about this coat is the asymmetry. I think that I love classic pieces with like one thing that just makes it like there's an edge to it, right? Whether it's the scale of it, the print, the cut, like it's a classic thing that people want and people can digest, and it's something you can wear all the time, but there's some edge to it that just makes it different and cool. And that's how I think I've always been when it comes to fashion. Like I love things that are like typical, easy to wear, but there's something about it. There's a button or hardware or something off that just makes it like, oh, that's cool, right? It's like it's wearable, but it's art at the same time. And I think that juxtaposition is what I really love. And I think that's why I gravitated towards this coat, because the way that it buttons, it creates this like level. There's like asymmetry to it, where one of the panels of the coat kind of sits higher than the lowest panel. So you get this like cool, like sloping effect to the cut of the coat. And the cool thing about this is the pocket does the same thing. It also has that asymmetry. So the pocket follows the line of the coat. So that extra detail feels purposeful. And the reason why this is also really well made is even though there's that asymmetry, the way that the print is cut, the print still connects. It doesn't like, the print doesn't shift where it looks like a mistake. So your print stays solid, but the cut of the coat, the silhouette of it is slanted and the pocket is slanted. And I think that especially with the plaid and a tartan that is a very like, you know, vertical, horizontal kind of like grid system, having that off grid, having that diagonal in the mix of that is so interesting. So I love the color. I love the cut. I love the Vivienne Westwood brand. I think that this is such a very quintessential London coat. I love the colors that come together. I love the fact that the pocket also slants. So it's just a really well done coat. So the Vivienne Westwood S coat in the color red, it's in size 40, 42, 44, and 46 on her website. I'm sure you can maybe find it at a reseller somewhere like Farfetched or Essence or Selfridges, Harrods, anyone that really sells Vivienne Westwood. But I really, really, really actually love this coat. It's probably one of my favorites on this list. Okay, next on the list, this is Zara. So we're now touching into more affordable price points, but this is a 100% wool coat ZW collection. So not like a very like unique name at all, but I think right now kind of what we're seeing in fashion when it comes to like Saint Laurent, what I just saw from their runway is like we're bringing back that like 80s suiting, right? And I always think back to American Psycho with Christian Bale and just like that era of men's suiting, like, you know, the wide shoulder. It was just this very like structured, clean, but kind of oversized aesthetic, which I think that you're going to see come back in the next few years. And I think it's going to kind of stem from Saint Laurent. But this coat, I think the reason it's cool and unique and not a lot of people will have it is its minimalism. I love that it is kind of this textured light gray. So you do get some interest of like this like kind of like cross hatch weaving pattern that you'll see on it. But the way that this coat is cut, it almost just looks like you took a men's suit from the 80s and you made a women's long line coat out of it. And I think it's just very cool. I think that the way that it comes a little further across the chest and buttons kind of asymmetrically as well, I think makes it look expensive. It looks like one just big panel of fabric with really great seaming. So I think that that's cool. I love that there's almost like the little suit pocket up here, so I think that adds to the aesthetic of like you're wearing an 80s men's suit that was like exaggerated and elongated, but it's ultimately just fucking chic. Like it looks so good. The girl who's wearing it on the runway here has it paired with like obviously these like knee-high kind of scrunched leather boots, and it's just like it's very like that corporate chic that I think is very cool. It's very masculine. But also, I think the way that you style it, it's definitely very like, I'm not an ultra feminine girl. I'm more of a tomboy, but I'm still chic as fuck. And that's when I'm not being obnoxious like this. Like I gravitate more towards masculine silhouettes. All of my trench coats are men's trench coats. I have a vintage men's Dior, and they're very strong shouldered, very strong silhouettes. But I like that juxtaposition. I love strength in clothes, and I think if you're going to go for something structured, the color of this, the pattern of this, the materials of this, it's made of 100% wool. So that's what's really nice, that you're not paying, you know, you're still getting a $229 coat, but you're not getting like acrylic, you're not getting polyester and plastic. You are getting 100% wool, which is what I think the ZW collection is. It's a little more like better materials in general. That's why it's a little more expensive. And I think just the severity of its silhouette, it makes it a statement piece, if that makes sense. So it's the 100% wool coat ZW collection. It's this light gray, and it's $229 right now. And it's a hidden button closure, so that adds to the minimalistness of it. You don't have a button, which I love. I think that's what it is. I love its strength, its severity. I love its neutrality. I love its structure, but I also love its seamlessness. I think that's what makes this such an interesting coat. It's like this seamless, expensive look. And I just think it's going to take a specific person to pull this off. She's like walking down the streets of New York with her coffee. Just, it's a power bitch. A power bitch has this coat. Now I need to buy it. It's not loud. It's just, the silhouette and the attitude of this coat speaks volumes in and of itself. It doesn't need all the bells and whistles. I love checking out Dover Street Market. I think Dover Street can get a little too experiential for me. It is definitely people who are not afraid of anything, but there are very unique, selected, curated pieces that I think are made for Dover Street, or that the Dover Street retail vendors or buyers, they buy cool stuff. Because when you've walked into a Dover Street, you're kind of walking into a fashion museum. It's more of this experience of like installation art, and so a lot of the pieces that they choose feel like art pieces versus just your typical coats. But Comme des Garçons is a brand that is very heavily showcased in the Dover Street markets. So on the Dover Street Market New York e-shop, there is this black Comme des Garçons unisex frayed edge coat in black and white, and it's an all black pea coat, and the cut is really well. I have a Stella McCartney, like the tiger print coat from like two years ago, I believe now, that is almost this exact same silhouette, and it is phenomenal. It's not too long where it drags. It's long enough that it keeps you warm. It hits kind of like that low calf area that I just think if you have a boot, the boot shows. If you have a sneaker, the sneaker shows. If you're wearing jeans, you see a little pop of the jean. Like, it's just a good cut length. But it's got this like frayed edge white band through the middle of it. And I think that adds interest. And it also is like this illusion that like Mugler is probably known for this too with the cutouts. But like when a cutout kind of goes like this on the form, and it makes you look thinner, or not necessarily thinner, but like the illusion just changes your silhouette automatically. It's like that. It's like one of those pieces that it makes you look hollow almost. I think it's really cool. And I think just like that belted strip of white is just, it's interesting. And it's something that if I saw someone walking down the street, I would like do a double take. And I love that it's got like this frayed wool edge. It's almost like you're seeing the pattern of the designer underneath, and they cut out the fabric, and it's almost like it's like a discard. But that's very Comme des Garçons. It's very cool. And like the edge of the inside is like this raw frayed. It's like a work in progress kind of garment. So there's like this deconstructed aspect to it, which I think automatically always reads edgier. It's like that it's like I'm too cool to give a shit kind of aesthetic that I love. And I think that this is one of those moments where you're getting this very classic, tailored, beautiful Comme des Garçons piece that's like so easy to wear with everything, but there's this interest to it. There's this like, what is that? When you're walking, it'll draw the eye to it. And I think that's what's fashion. It's like you're communicating, right? You're communicating something with what you put on your back. And I just think having classic pieces with weird aspects to them that makes you do a double take, I think is like the perfect recipe for style. The Comme des Garçons coat is $1,255 USD. So it's not the most expensive coat in the world. It's kind of like midway between the crazy prices of luxury, like the more contemporary designer price points, which are like $600 to $800. And it's not cheap, obviously, like H&M or something like that. So it is made out of great materials, which is nice. And I think it's a piece you'd have forever, and it would work season after season as well. I don't think this will ever go out of style. It's just always going to be that like classic black or brown coat with like some added interest that you can wear forever, which I think is the whole point of when you invest into these pieces, right? So I selfishly just want to put this on here because I just want someone to own it. It's one of those coats that, you know, if this is your vibe and you're gonna fucking rock it, you're gonna rock it. And it's by Givenchy. It's all leather and shearling. And I love that it's like this grained lambskin. So it's an aged soft neon green. It's like a neon sage, if you will. And just the texture of it's really, really cool. I love that it's like this faded pebbled lambskin. It gives you like the Alexander Wang Rocco pebbled leather, like that bubbly kind of leather. It looks like that. It almost gives like a suede effect because it's aged from far away, but it's actually like a smooth leather. There's only a few left on Saks Fifth Avenue. It's got these exaggerated pockets, which I love. And the cool thing about this is that it could go summer, but it could also go spring. It can also go fall, and it can go winter, depending upon like what you layer underneath it. It's got this like interesting zipper detail around the collar. Just like all the details of it are very much like, it's almost like a leather raincoat, which I find interesting. It's got like the pull cords, which you never see on leather. You see that on nylons and cottons, and you don't even see that on wool really. So it's almost like you took like a nylon raincoat, but you made it out of this like luxurious, expensive material, which I think is really cool. So you can take the hood off, I believe. It's got the Givenchy kind of branding right here above the left pocket. It's a cool fucking coat. It kind of reads, it's like a leather parka, and it's made in Italy, and it retails for $7,990. So this is obviously a luxury designer coat, but it's fucking cool, dude. Like the color, like I find any shade of green is a neutral, because if you look at nature, every single shade of green exists in nature, and every single color of flower or petal looks good on a green stem. So green is one of those color neutrals that I gravitate towards. But I just think that this color, it cuts through the noise, and it's interesting, and the fact that it's like pebbled lambskin, but it's also a parka silhouette, like a raincoat silhouette with like raincoat features on it. That juxtaposition I think is very cool and very weird. And so selfishly, I really want someone to buy this coat. There's only a few left. There's a size 40 and a size 42 left on Saks Fifth Avenue. So someone please go buy this coat for winter. Okay, this is another bomber kind of jacket coats for winter, and there are two of them that I really love, and this designer is very special to me. I met him when I was in London in October, and his name is Kervin Marc. So it's like Kervin Marc, as in Marc Jacobs, Marc. And I just remember seeing like all these fabulous leather coats in his window, because like I'd wanted to get a moto jacket while I was in London. And he is the designer who I bought my olive leather coat from. So like the construction of it, he makes them all by hand. It's like high quality leathers. He's really good at recycling though, so he's like very like a sustainable kind of designer. He's really into like sustainable patchwork. He does painting, and he's just like, he's an artist. And I think when you work in fashion, or you're in this world of fashion, I think it's easy to just get bogged down by like always giving your money to like the big designers like Hermes, Prada, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when I was in London this last time, I met a lot of like individual creatives who had such a unique viewpoint on style. And I wanted to buy something from him more than I wanted to like go through Selfridges and Harrods and buy something that's kind of like not mass produced, but mass produced in a way. And his energy and just his vision and who he was as a person, like I could feel that in his garments. And so when I bought that coat, I wore it like probably 4 out of the 6 days that I was in London. It matched everything. It hit my body right. It fell on me perfectly. There were details to it that not all the other designers had, and I really wanted to feature some of his coats in this video. He didn't pay me to say any of this. I just truly believe in this individual, and I believe in the power of like person to person connection, and when we meet the right people, we meet the right people. Like I was so drawn to these like patchwork bombers that he was doing. So one of them is called the Annalen, and it's a 2,300 pound, so roughly like 2,800 USD. And it's this patchwork leather bomber, and it's a mixture between like over-dyed cotton and like army canvas, and then like also leather and like zipper hardware. And I just think it's fucking sick. I think the lapel is cool. It's very like patchwork, like futuristic aviation, which I think is really cool. It's just like pieces of leather, pieces of canvas, pieces of cotton, And like his zippers are so high quality and smooth and like chunky. And what I love about him is like he always puts zippers on the shoulders. And I think that's an old school thing to do, because I think that people used to unzip those pieces to like let their armpits breathe. But the way that he styles them sometimes is like, sometimes he'll just like unzip one side kind of halfway. And again, it's that deconstructed, I don't give a fuck kind of vibe. And I just think that his pieces are so weird and unique. Like so this is the Anolin, and it's like all different colors of black with silver hardware, which I love. And then the other one that I really love from him that is also a patchwork bomber is the Lin, and it's called Lin B, and it's more not black, it's more of these like mustards and greens, and very much like those army, like your traditional camo army colors that have like been blended in to create this amazing like cropped bomber. And this one is 1,600 pounds, so probably more like $1,800 US. And I just think the colors are so cool, and like you kind of get 2 in 1 because the sleeves unzip, so every time you buy something from him, you're normally getting a coat and a vest together. And I just think it's so interesting. It's olive patchwork crop bomber construction from olive, Napa leather, vintage army cotton, and canvas kits. So he repurposes all of these materials, and the seaming and the stitching and the zippers and the hardware, all of it, it's just so good. And you just wouldn't get this level, I don't even think, of detail from like an atelier from a luxury fashion house. Like, I think because it's his brand and it's just him and he's putting the effort in, like you have that hunger, right, to like be the best, to chase your vision, and that hunger gets put like by him into every garment he makes. It's not like a creative director somewhere that like directs an atelier and the atelier makes it and it's kind of produced over and over. It's like, no, this is an individual who has a vision and has a thirst and a fire, and he knows that everything that he does himself by hand has to be able to meet this price point, and it does. And I just think that one-to-one energy you just don't get elsewhere. And so Kervin Marc, an amazing human being. Please follow him on Instagram, reach out to him. If you're ever in Notting Hill, go into his store, try things on. He loves trying things on with you, experimenting around with you. And with Kervin, he wasn't talking to me because he thought I was going to buy something. Our conversation was like an hour long, and it wasn't about it wasn't remotely about selling me something. It was about like the passion of style and who he's dressing and who wore this. And he's like, do you want to try this like cape skirt on? And we were like playing with clothes and talking about art and design. Like he truly, I think, just loves working with people and loves the art of style and bringing beauty into the space, that it felt like such an intimate one-on-one shopping spree with somebody. And it wasn't about selling me something. It was about like, do you feel good in this? Do you love this garment? What do you think of this? Let's try this on. It was like this act of just like playing with clothes for creativity's sake together, not get in here, drop your money, give me my commission, and leave. And I really resonated with him. So Kervin Marc, those two, the patchwork jackets, there's something I want to say about for to buy, but also like the moto jacket that I got was called the Luca, and I got it in olive, and I'll also include that here in case you're just in the mood for it's like a really heavy leather. And again, everything he does, like there's a zipper kind of along the shoulder line that first of all, it adds interest to your silhouette, but it also, if you want to wear it kind of in the summer, you can vest it out. But I wore this moto jacket, and a guy in Celine, a guy in Bottega, and a guy walking around on the designer floor that had like Dries, Montclair, all of those. He was like, I loved your jacket. Where did you get it? And I showed them the website. So I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten just on this moto jacket because it's such a unique color as well. But like, imagine being in his patchwork coats. Like, you will draw eyes and you will draw interest and you will be unique in your space. So I can't say enough good things about him. I think his stuff, it's not just the aesthetic, it's the energy of that person that gets put into the garments that I haven't seen that passion in people in a very long time. If you're in the space for something different, please try him out, Kervin Marc. And then I think the last one I'm going to do, because we referenced him earlier, and when I saw this coat, my jaw dropped. It's 4,800 and it's by Alexander McQueen, and it's off the runway, and it's the tailored wool cashmere coat in white. And this coat, guys, it's the structure of this coat, the sleeves, the shoulders, the way that the lapel is like asymmetrical, the safety pin, and then there's like this little chain detail on the back that pulls through. This is giving First Wives Club, you know, in the end when they're all dressed in white, but like the edgy fourth best friend that wasn't included, you know? You could even take that safety pin off if you didn't like that massive piece of hardware and just keep that little like drop toggle on the back. But everything about this coat, the material, the sleeves, the cut, the shape, the silhouette, the hardware, the color, I mean, fucking white wool cashmere, like that is a whole nother level of I have so much money, I don't care. To me, it's like that femininity meets masculinity, and I just think that this coat is stunning. So if you have the money to drop and you just want a white wool cashmere coat that just like blows people out of the water, and you just want to drop $5,000 on something because you can, if you want to buy a straight off the runway piece, I just thought this coat was stunning. It gives like also kind of that like Schiaparelli vibe where it's like that kind of balloon shoulder aspect. But you can definitely tell that it's McQueen, and the tailoring and the hardware and the cut, even like the pleating near the bum, the bottom, like where your ass would be, like it's created to make you look completely put together and structured. I hope that there was something on that list where either you want to actually buy the real coat, or it inspired you to maybe look at other designers. H&M, ASOS, Zara could possibly have like versions of those coats, but it kind of just gives you some options of like some silhouettes, or maybe a way of thinking about textiles and silhouettes that maybe you didn't think of before. What emoji should we put in the comments? Put the snowflake emoji. If you've made it to the end of this video, comment which coat you love, or if you've bought a coat, let me know, and then drop the snowflake emoji in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. If you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I'm really trying to grow it this year. It's one of my goals for 2025, to grow my YouTube presence and try to like express myself through this platform. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I'm there at xi90la. And if you have already subscribed, thank you so much, and I hope that you come back for the next one. It's been really great to kind of like sit through and chat fashion with you guys a little bit, and I hope that you have a fabulous week, weekend, month, year. So thank you again for watching. Love you guys. Bye.